Welcome to the PSR YouTube channel. Hey, I love YouTube. YouTube's awesome. It's awesome. You should become a YouTube creator. Totally. This video will get monetized. Yes.
Whoa, yeah. We're having lots of family fun now. Whoa, yeah. None of these are real guns now. Whoa, yeah. Also got a Patreon, the link is in description. Got some merch too, yeah, you know you wanna get some.
Thank you for being patient. I think we've stroked the algorithm enough for today. The video starts in 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of PSR. Today we are Scorpion maxing. This is a standard Scorpion Evo that I got a long time ago now because I thought Scorpions were cool, and they are indeed cool. But you know what's a little bit cooler? Scorpion on crack, or less crack, let's say, because occasionally you would run into out of batteries with this because it's a plastic receiver.
Ooh, that didn't sound right.
But this Nexus Evo Gen 1 is aluminum, billet aluminum receiver for the CZ Scorpion, and it's delayed blowback, which results in about 35% reduced recoil, which is sick. And this thing is super awesome. We're gonna talk all about it. But first, let's just put a mag through it. We got a P-mag with standard 115 grain FMJ. We're gonna do a HK slap with the HB Industries enhanced charging handle. Oh yeah. Oh, nice. It definitely feels less snappy than the OEM Scorpion, that's for sure. Let's see how I can go fast with this trigger here. Woo, baby. Oh man, that is awesome. Oh, dick, we gotta bump fire it. Oh, dick. Oh my God. That is stupid easy to bump fire. I think I might be able to do it from my shoulder. I say we go back to the table, talk a little bit about the history of the CZ Scorpion and what makes the Nexus Evo unique in itself. But first, hold on. But first, I gotta thank the channel sponsor for PSR, and that is Aves Engineering. If you guys are into your DIY squirted projects, which of course you probably are, look no further than Aves for all of your rails for your squirted glizzies. They got 19, 26, 17, 43. They're great, and they are a supporter of this channel, so supporting them helps a lot. And never in a million years, use PSR for 10% off. Thank you again to Aves for sponsoring this channel. Ah, dick. All right, so a little bit of history on the Scorpion Evo 3. So a long time ago, back in the early PSR channel days, I did a review of my squirted Scorpion Evo 3, and that is what a lot of people got introduced to my channel with. It got a bunch of views, and it was a really cool, fun project by Recoil. This is beans. This is the OEM Scorpion, and it came out, I think, in around 2008. The same designer of the Lago Alien actually was the designer of the CZ Scorpion and contributed to the design. It is a Czech firearm, and we know Czech firearms are usually pretty damn good, and that applies to the CZ Scorpion Evo. The thing about the Evo is it's blowback. It's a standard blowback firearm, so the recoil is quite snappy. And something unique about the Evo 3 design is that it's plastic, and it actually consists of 2 clamped plastic receiver components on the upper. Now, the only serialized firearm part is actually this right hand side of the clamped plastic receiver. So just the right hand side is actually the serialized firearm part, which is kind of cool. Now, if you put some hot loads inside your Evo, which who wouldn't want to put a hot load inside this thing, sometimes you might run into out of battery issues, and there are evidence, and there's a video online of one guy shooting a full auto Evo, and then out goes the side of the receiver. It just gets flung out, and that is something that's been known to happen here and there. So Nexus Firearms, they decided they wanted to fix that and change the recoil impulse so that it wasn't just direct blowback, but something else. And this is what they came up with. This is the Nexus Evo 3 Gen 1. This thing is super cool because, like I said before, it is a single billet aluminum machined receiver. So no longer are the two halves. You have just one full receiver here, and it is really, really hot. I mean, this thing looks so sick. And in addition to just looking cool and having the billet, you know, protection, because if you haven't had a battery in this, you're not gonna have one side of the receiver fly out. In addition to that, it is bearing delayed. So it is a delayed blowback Scorpion. It has an increased power recoil spring. And the cool thing about Nexus is they offer this in not only just a complete full firearm, which is awesome, but they also offer this as a receiver upgrade. So you can just get the billet receiver and then throw it onto your OEM Scorpion and then have a enhanced Scorpion Gen 1 Nexus Scorpion receiver all to itself, and you can directly swap that in. And this works with both the OEM Scorpions that are out, like the 3 Plus and the normal, the OG 3 that came out, you know, a long time ago now. So the cool thing about the bearing delay system is you get about a 35% reduction in felt recoil, which is sweet. And then also you get that protection, like I said, against the out of batteries. If you have an out of battery in this, you're not going to break it, which is really, really great. So like I said, you can just get the receiver and you can also get the enhanced bolt. But in addition to that, the OEM bolt, the normal bolt, will also work in this receiver. So there's nothing proprietary about it, which is really neat. If you do want the delayed blowback, the bearing delayed blowback, you can get that bolt, and that bolt will work with this receiver. I wanted to actually do a couple things here and test the recoil impulse, see if we can feel it, but also test kind of like putting this OEM bolt inside and see what that feels like without the delayed blowback, because we can just swap our normal OEM bolt into this Nexus receiver, which is neat. Now, Nexus offers these as complete guns. They do offer a bunch of Cerakote colors, which is really neat. We got an FDE one right here. You can also choose to do this HB Industries rail, which is awesome. HB Industries makes some great stuff. We got our like kind of MP5 style brace on here. We've got a Siley Optics bull with a Scalarworks mount, and I got this kind of cheap Amazon laser because I wanted to see what it was like. This is a Tough Soul TF9035. I think it was like 80 bucks, and it does have IR laser but no IR illuminator, and I mainly got it because it's really nice. It's got a good flashlight on it, so we have a flashlight and a laser if we want it on here. We secured the tape switch with some LaRue mount. This is the tape switch that comes with the laser. As far as the suppressor on here, this is a really, really neat suppressor. So this is a reflex suppressor. It is no longer made, sadly, but is the Saber. So this is the Saber 9mm suppressor from AB Suppressors, and the cool thing about this thing is it goes over the barrel. So that's the reflex part of it, and this is actually the original suppressor that was given to law enforcement divisions that were running the Scorpion. And so this is like the OG law enforcement Scorpion suppressor. Really lightweight, and the sound is pretty good on it. As far as the barrel selection goes, you can use a 5.3 inch barrel all the way up to a 16 inch barrel. You can use your OEM barrel. This is one that came with the Nexus package. It's a 5.3 inch, I believe, and it tucks actually in that rail. So if I was going to shoot this without the suppressor, it wouldn't really be ideal, but I basically wanted to build this for this suppressor because this is actually the suppressor that is meant for this gun, which is just really neat. But look, we can actually take this HB Industries rail with our OEM 8-inch barrel, and we can screw this suppressor on, and this thing just looks so cool in the OEM Scorpion with this rail. So look at that, that's hot. And I know a lot of the original OEM Scorpions had that fake flash can, but this is the real deal, and it tucks in there really nice with this HB Industries handguard. So if I wanted to, I could swap all of the components out, like the barrel and the handguard, and put them in this, which is just really neat thing about the Nexus Evo. All right, so I do really want to put these up against each other and see if we can actually visually see with some slow motion footage, as well as feel that delayed blowback enhancement with this bolt. And it also, I forgot to mention, this lower comes shipped with Nexus's Ergon trigger that they offer, which is a way, way, way better trigger than the OEM Scorpion trigger, which is like an 8.5 pound trigger. It is not a great trigger. That is the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest downside of the OEM Scorpion is the trigger. And this trigger is really, really nice. All right, look at this travel, and then listen to this break. Oh, it's like probably about 4 pounds, maybe a little bit, maybe it's even less, honestly. So check this out. Travel, travel, break. Nice, and then reset. Really, really tactile, good reset feel. So it is really crisp trigger, and that is awesome. I said we get into comparing these two and see if we can notice the differences. Let's do it. All right, before we do another mag, I want to do a quick drip check. I'm rocking full Verustaleca X Forgotten Weapons collab with the Ian Pat. If you look close, it's actually quite effective camo. Guys, quick break in the video. Verustaleca, the company that makes the entire drip that I'm wearing in this video, they are offering 20% off their entire store with the code PSR. This is a rare discount. You don't get that often, and I really, really recommend checking them out. The Ian Pat, I don't know if they're still in stock, but their MO5 finished camo is just chef's kiss. I love it, and their gear is really, really great. I use it every time I go to the range. Check out Verustaleca, use the code PSR for 20% off your entire order for the month of April 2025, baby. Back to the video. I really like the recoil impulse of this thing. Let's shoot it some more. Oh man, even with supersonic, it's pretty damn quiet. We gotta try subsonic now, so let's try to do some subsonic rounds. Take the ear pro off, take the helmet off. Let's just put one into the berm, see what it sounds like. It's pretty quiet. Now, it's not going to be quite as quiet as the MP5. The bolt is quite loud, whether you are using the OEM one or not. This one, I think the bolt sound is just maybe a little bit louder because of that enhanced, it's got a little bit more strength on that recoil spring, so it comes back pretty hard. You have to give it a little bit more oomph when you charge this thing back and cock it, just because of the nature of the bearing delay system in here, as well as that enhanced strength spring on there. I'm going to try to bump fire it from the shoulder here. Let's try it. It's so fast. Oh my God. And that's it. That is too much fun. Obviously, I was able to keep the burst rounds on target, but once I tried to really let it off my shoulder, it kind of sailed up a little bit, but damn. Now I want to try comparing back to back the recoil impulse of the OEM Scorpion with the Nexus Evo. So ideally you would want the same exact barrel as our Nexus Evo in our OEM Evo. This one's just a little bit longer. It's 8 inches versus 5.3. We're pretty damn close because we got the same suppressor on here. So let's see just how the recoil impulse feels with the OEM, and then we'll try the Nexus one. Let's try it out here. Gotta love a good old SB Tactical triangle folder. Not. You can see my cheek. It's giving my cheek a good little, oh yeah, it's hitting my ear pro. All right, Nexus Evo now, back to back. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's quite a bit better. Yeah. It's easy to do follow-up shots. Way easier to do follow-up shots of this. I would say that 35% number is about right. That's what it feels like. It's not like an MP5 where it's just like super extremely soft. It's still got a little bit of punch to it, but significantly reduces that felt recoil compared to the OEM. Let's see if we can capture that on video in slow motion. All right, so you can see there in the slow motion that the Nexus Evo definitely recoiled softer. I mean, it's harder necessarily to see than feel. You can feel it a lot more when you're shooting back to back, when you shoot the OEM one versus the Nexus, but you can still visually see it that it is softer recoil with that delayed blowback from those bearings. Now, I think it'd be kind of cool to field strip these and swap the bolts so you can see those recesses where the bearings go in. And then I want to try the OEM bolt in the Nexus Evo just to show that that'll work and see how it runs. The Evo disassembles super easily. The trigger pack comes out like this. You got to lock the bolt to the rear, and then you can just pop that out. Easy as pie, and this is not a firearm, so the lower is actually not a firearm, as I said, it's the upper. All right, so this is the Nexus bolt, the enhanced one with the increased power spring, and it's got a little spring on the back here, whereas this is the OEM Evo bolt. Pretty much standard what you'd see. They're very similar, but where the difference comes in is the receiver. So there's no delayed mechanism in there, but when you look at our Nexus one, You see these set screws right here, and the set screws are for these ball bearings, which I may have to come a little bit closer for you to see it. But yeah, here are the ball bearings, and they're tied in with these, screwed in with these set screws here, which hold them in place. All right, let's see what this feels like with the OEM bolt inside of the Nexus Evo receiver. Wow, that almost feels even lighter. Wow, that is awesome. So it definitely works with the OEM bolt. Wow, that is sick. Holy shit. I love how I can like look after I shoot and the brass is still falling right in front of the camera. Let's try the Nexus bolt inside the OEM Evo just for kicks. So you could also just get an enhanced bolt if you don't want out of battery issues or anything like that, and you just want a little bit of enhancement to your OEM Evo. You could always do that too. We'll put our lower on here. Now this does have the Timney upgrade, Timney trigger in it, but honestly, like after shooting the one that's in the Nexus that comes standard, I kind of like the one that's in the Nexus better because this has like zero travel. So you can see here, this has like zero travel, just brake right there. I prefer a little bit of pre-travel. Now, like I said, the Nexus bolt, you really have to cock her back. But I can feel when I'm rocking it back, there's no bearings that are holding the bolt. So it's actually a different sensation. So it'll be interesting to see with that increased power recoil spring, how it shoots. Let's try it out. All right, let's try it with the, oh fuck, I gotta put the suppressor on. Oh, dick. Just cranking the hog. While I screw the suppressor on, I will just say AB Suppressors is doing some really cool stuff. They actually started out as a turbocharger company. They pivoted to suppressors when they realized there was some crossover in the technology between suppressors and turbos. And that's why they got the ribbed design. I know it's kind of polarizing visually, but honestly, the performance of these AB suppressors are awesome. I have the 556 one, I have a 762 one. I love them all. They're really great performing suppressors. So shouts out to AB. All right, let's try the OEM Scorpion with the Nexus enhanced bolt just to see how it feels. Honestly, if I had an OEM Scorpion and I didn't want to go the full Nexus build route, like I might just get an enhanced bolt just for peace of mind, because especially with this Timney in here, you can just give her shit, not have to worry. Whew. Good times. Let's try a couple mags, see if these work. This is the ETS mag. ETS known not necessarily for reliability, but it is a freaking 40 rounder on deck. Hey, the ETS worked, nice. All right, this is the AKV, the PSA mag. We're gonna see how the AKV, oh, that's a little bit tight in there. Interesting. We'll see how well it does here. Bolt release. That sounds so good. All right, I wanted to illustrate the difference between the subs and the supers. We got 5 supers, 5 subs, 5 supers, 5 subs, just to show you guys the sound signature. Now, I wish we had like a decibel meter, but the really good ones are like $2,000 plus, and we're just gonna have to take it from the Rode microphone, the audio. But let's see how it sounds into the berm with the super. So you can hear that kind of echoing. All right, now the sub. Whew, quiet, no echo there. There's just a tiny little crack in the distance. Now that's a super, I believe. Super. Sub. Super. And that's the difference between the supers and the subs. Shooting the Nexus Evo with our AB Suppressor's Saber. All right, so we put around 500 rounds between all of the bump firing and just letting it rip. We put around 500 rounds to this thing. I had shot it before we filmed this video and put at least probably around another 200 in it. So I'm pretty confident, and it shoots like a dream. For a Scorpion, absolutely. It's a cool upgrade. And like I said, you don't have to necessarily get the whole shebang, the whole gun. The whole gun is really sick, but if you just wanted to upgrade your receiver on your Scorpion for peace of mind and that bearing delay, you can get that receiver and the bolt kit. I think what Nexus Firearms is doing is pretty damn cool, and I think there's something a little bit spicy on the way for the Evo that they're developing, but I can't say it yet, and hopefully we'll be able to make a video on that. But man, you can see in the footage that this does in fact shoot smoother and softer, and I can tell you firsthand experience, it is a softer shooting gun, so that bearing delay is definitely doing something in there. I just think the suppressor, the drip factor, the short barrel, and the way it tucks in there, and kind of the reflex, it looks so sick. This is what an Evo was supposed to be from the very beginning. So it's the Czech Scorpion with a touch of American freedom, we like to say. And the trigger in here is super awesome. I actually do prefer it to the Timney. So if you do get the full Evo, the Nexus Evo, I think you'll be very pleased with this trigger. You know, weight wise, felt pretty good. It's about the same weight, I would say, as the OEM one, but maybe just a tiny bit heavier, maybe just because of this billet receiver. But boy, oh boy, man, I don't have much else to say, but the optic was great. I actually like this optic because it clears the laser, and it's an RMR footprint optic. You know, it's not too expensive. So if you're gonna run an RMR on top of your Evo, I think this one's pretty good because it's got a nice size window. I did use the Tough Soul laser, the $80 Amazon laser, to actually aim from the hip, which I could see the green laser in the daytime. It is not super bright out, but it did work. So it was holding zero. I would prefer an IR illuminator and laser, but maybe Tough Soul will work on that. I did notice the mount did come loose initially, so I Loctited the screws in there, and now we're good to go. Haven't had any issues since. HB Industries makes some of the coolest accessories for the Scorpion, so I want to give a big shout out to HB Industries for this cool shit they have on here, and a huge shout out to Nexus Firearms. It's a small company made here in the USA, and they're doing really cool stuff and keeping the Scorpion alive. So if you were thinking about a PCC, I would just skip the CZ and get a Nexus Evo if you got the budget for it, because it's a better gun than the OEM. Guys, you can follow me on Patreon. I always appreciate your support. It goes to help make these videos possible. Ammo's not cheap, and I don't have an ammo sponsor, so you guys, my Patreon supporters, are my ammo sponsor, in addition to other things that you guys help with. You get early access to content and access to my music and stuff like that. If you get the top tier, you get a shout out at the end of my video when I roll the credits. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of PSR. I love you, and I'm gonna keep LARPing with my Nexus Evo. Unique in itself. But first, let's do a little drip check here. But first, hold on.